What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Tales from the Taro Patch. Today I have a very special guest who I respect a lot, I look up to. He's a good influence for Hawaiians everywhere, and he's my Kumu in Lāʻau Lapaʻau. And yeah, I know him as Kumu Keoki, but I'll let him introduce himself.
Yeah, Maikai, mahalo for having me here. Yeah, this beautiful aina. My name is Keoki Baclayon. I'm from the island of Kauai, Mano Kalanipo, and from Kilauea, North Shore. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, yeah, mahalo no ka hele ana mai.
Hi.
And yeah. So the first question I like to ask all of my guests, just to get a better understanding of where they're from and the aina that raised them, is, yeah, where are you from and how was it for you growing up?
Yeah, for me, when it's kind of interesting, like walking around here with you before, sitting down the ho'ana. We grew up in a place like this. Kilauea is all country.
Yeah.
Old plantation, strong Hawaiian community, mixed with your kepani, Pino, and mostly. And so walking around here reminded me of Kilauea. Yeah, lots of plants, community,
Green
everywhere. Quiet like this. Yeah.
Well, besides the puppies.
No, I had dogs too, bro.
Oh, okay.
I had dogs, puppies, chickens. Yeah. And so it's a lot of, pretty much country. So,
solid.
Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know, that's on like the east, like northeast side of Kauai.
Yeah.
And Kauai is like super country in itself already. So
yeah.
So yeah, could you just talk a little bit about like where you went to school, like the schools you went to, and like what you did after you graduated?
Yeah, sure. Went to Kilauea Elementary School. So it's kind of just again, wherever I'm at here on Oahu, there's little reminders of what my childhood was like, and so coming up the road, seeing the elementary school here, reminded me of that. So I went to Kilauea Elementary School, Kapa'a High School. Then my family moved to Townside on Kauai, so I went to Kauai High.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I graduated from there.
Did you, when you were going through high school, like, did you know what you wanted to do when you graduated, or you just kind of going with the flow?
I was just going with the flow, because we were exposed to a lot of the more talked about jobs in high school, which is like being a lawyer or working in an office eventually, things like that, and the military is talked about, or you're maybe you can be a history teacher or something like that. But I didn't have a clear vision of what I wanted to do, at all. So I was really going with the flow and just kind of letting the life take me wherever.
Just going with the wind.
Yeah.
So you spoke a little bit about being in the military. You mentioned it a couple times during class. Can you share like your journey through that and like why you went, basically?
Yeah, sure thing. So I went in the military when I was 21. When I was around 21, and so after some time of like just going with the flow and working odd jobs and everything, I thought to make a change and to get off the island. So I went into the military, not exactly sure where it was going to take me, and I ended up signing up for the infantry. To
battle.
Yeah, basically that's what they do, right?
Yeah.
And within the the different occupations of an infantryman, I fell into I didn't fall into it. I pursued the high echelon part of the infantry, and that was Marine reconnaissance.
Okay.
So it was compared to Green Berets or Special Forces for the Army, Navy SEALs for the Navy, and Marine reconnaissance for the Marine Corps. So that's what I trained to do.
Oh, that's Is that like did you have to go through like the regular boot camp on top of like a different program too?
Yep. So regular boot camp is for everyone to be indoctrinated into the military.
Yeah, that style of life.
Yeah. To learn the culture, learn the history, learn how to be a Marine. And then after that, there are your various schools that you attend to specialize in whatever occupation you're going to do in the military.
Okay.
My reasons behind it were kind of mixed, because I'm Kanaka Maoli, Hawaiian, and then knowing about the military history and influence here in Hawaii, you know, I carried that with me in the military. Yeah. So whenever I was overseas, I would try to keep in mind that I was in somebody else's aina.
Yeah.
And I would treat them with as much respect as possible, and just to remember that I'm a guest. You know? Yeah. So
you're the tourist over there.
I'm the tourist. Yeah. Well, not even tourist.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I was a guest, and so then I would treat them with the utmost respect as possible, coming from a cultural point of view.
Solid. So how long did you serve?
6 years.
Oh, mahalo for your service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's that point where my contract was done, and I was like, mahalo kia kua, I'm alive. Let's go do something else. So, and that's when I came back home, and I wanted to be a teacher. I finally figured out what I wanted to do. I wanted to teach, and came back to college. So, yeah.
So what inspired you to pursue a path in Lāʻau Lapaʻau?
You know, it was that transition point of leaving the military and then coming back to college. In between finishing, right before my contract was about to finish, I flew home to, when my contract finished with the military, I flew home for vacation to go see family, ohana, on Kauai. And then on the way there, I stopped off, it was a layover flight over in Honolulu, and I went over to the part of the terminal where all the Kauai flights were, because that's where my connecting flight was. And then there was Levon Ohai coming off of the airplane, coming off of the gate, coming out of the gate.
Did you already know?
I grew up with Ohai.
Me.
Like, yeah, so so we knew him as Uncle Sonny.
Solid.
So Uncle Sonny saw him, and he said, "Hey, what you doing here?" Just like, "Oh, going home to go visit Ohana."
Yeah.
And he goes, "All right, you know, I'm teaching Lāʻau Lapaʻau classes over at the university. You should come check it out." And we all knew growing up that he was the medicine man. And so I kept that in the back of my mind, as you know, after that visit. I went to go see my ohana, flew back to California after all that was done, finished my contract, flew, and then came back to Hawaii to go to school. And I had remembered what he had said, come visit my class, so I did. And then from that point on, I just stuck with him, and I stayed with him because I was really moved by what he was saying, and things that he taught us growing up as well that were coming back. And the healing environment that he provided was something that I really needed in my life at that time. You know, being in the military was what brought a lot of life experiences that I hadn't processed. So, and and being a veteran of a foreign war, there were a lot of things that had transpired that I was never really able to sit down and talk with anybody about. And so Lāʻau Lapaʻau was that healing place and that healing space where all that could happen. And since then, I have wanted to provide that kind of healing space for others ever since then.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So, or before we start saying that term like super planning, would you mind explaining what Lāʻau Lapaʻau is for my audience?
Sikino. Lāʻau Lapaʻau is two words. Lāʻau means plant, and Lapaʻau means medicine. So it's basically plant medicine. Whenever the term is used, Lāʻau Lapaʻau, it is referring to the traditional medicinal practices of the Hawaiian people, of the Kanaka Maoli.
Okay. So you just described what Lāʻau Lapaʻau is, huh?
Aye.
Okay. Whew, out of breath real quick.
Yeah, catch them. It's okay.
So, when we were in class, you brought up the laws that Kumu Ohai taught to you.
Yeah.
Could you go over what he taught you and then the two you added to that?
Sure thing. So, Kumu Ohai taught us the laws of health, the laws of Ola, the laws of Olakino, the pillars of health, the spiritual and physical laws of health. There's different names for it. And these laws are first, start off with aipono, sleep. No, sorry, aipono, proper eating.
Yeah.
Moi, which is sleep. Ho'oikaika kino, exercise. Ho'oma'e, cleansing. Mana'o, meditation. No'ono'opono, pondering. And pule, prayer. So those are the 7. Since practicing the laws of Olakino and then working with people in the community and at Waimanalo Health Center, I realized that there are 2 other things that we also need to focus on in addition to those 7. The 8th one that I'm adding to the laws of health are pilina, which is relationships. So relationship with self, relationship with your family, ohana, relationship with your akua, with your spiritual higher power.
Aina.
Yeah, aina. The rain, the ocean. Yes, relationship with all of those things. That's number 8. And then the 9th one is kumu mole ikeola, your purpose in life. So that's something that we can all use, like knowing your life purpose, because that's like your rudder.
Yeah.
You know, if you're like a va'a or a ship or a canoe, you need a rudder to guide you, and so your life purpose is that for you when you know it very clearly.
Yeah, I like that. And then is mole used in that, I guess, way, like the taproot mole?
Mole, it can be used as a taproot, as a source. It can be used that way, or also just as the source, or the main source. Yeah.
So could you go over some of the most, I guess, significant plants in Lāʻau Lapaʻau and some of their healing properties?
Yeah, I think it might be misunderstood by people that particular plants are more significant than others.
Yeah,
they're all very significant. And the more popular ones, noni, ava, are at the top of the list. Those are 2 plants that have been studied a lot. Things that I think that we overlook is also our foods, like our kalo, ulu, wala, uhi, and our foods are just very much a part of the healing process. So some of the plants, I mean, just walking around here, we have honohono grass. Yeah. Ponohono grass is antibacterial. The sap inside can be used for cuts.
Oh, okay.
It's like a liquid Band-Aid.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It's also anti-cancer or anti-carcinogenic. Yeah. Guava leaf. Yeah. So you eat enough guava, it becomes a laxative. To stop the diarrhea, yeah, you chew on the leaves and suck on the juices.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't even put that together because I used to mop guava when I was a kid, and I'd always have to go bathroom.
Yeah. So to stop the diarrhea, you extract the juices. The
that
juice.
Makes sense.
Chew on the juice. So the same plant that gives you the problem gives you the solution.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. Other plants worth mentioning are popolo, olena, turmeric, ape, ko'oko'olau, popolo,
Laukahi,
laukahi wahine, laukahi kane, pa'u ohi'iaka, and there's more. I mean, the practitioner will normally only work with what resources he or she has. Yeah. So otherwise he or she won't really touch the other plants because they're not within her reach. His or her reach. But a practitioner that is ma'a and is pa'a with that ike of knowing the plants from mauka to makai and knows where they're at and then goes and gets them, that's an added addition to their repertoire of plants that they could use. Yeah, so for a final we had to do for his class, we had to identify how much was it, 100? Yeah, the goal was 100, but we had 63.
Yeah, but we broke it up.
Yeah.
Throughout the semester.
Yeah, so you guys learned.
Yeah, it was nuts. That last freaking, 4 tables full of plants.
Yeah.
And we had to do it all blindfolded too, so that was an extra barrier. But I'm glad I know a lot of the plants are on my farm now because of that.
Yeah.
So how do you feel toward Western or modern medicine, and do you feel Lāʻau complements it or contradicts it? Or the other way around, I should say.
I think it complements and it can contradict when there isn't communication or clarity. And so it really depends on who you're working with, what the context of the situation is. There are many times where where there have been agreements really between the healthcare providers and the practitioners, where we would figure things out, okay, you go first and then we'll go next, or let's go in together, and let's work with somebody. But I think those contradictions can be resolved if there's communication and effort put on both sides to learn about each other's work.
That reminds me of how you were talking about what you do at Waimanalo Health Center. In class, you basically work with other or Western medicine practitioners, as well as being the, I don't want to say holistic approach, but basically So could you talk a little bit about how that works at Waimanalo Health Center, and how you feel other institutions could benefit from that type of practice?
Right. I think the key word there is integration. So integration is taking two styles of healing and incorporating them into a single place and space to bring about health and wellness for the individual. So I work at Waimanalo Health Center as a Lāʻau Lapaʻau practitioner, and so with that specialty, and I go into the room where the doctors are at, and we listen to the doctor's plan, we listen to what the doctor's assessment is and even diagnosis, and then if the patient wants to hear what Lāʻau Lapaʻau has to offer, then we offer our opinion on those things. And most often, it leans toward them following the laws of health.
Trying that first, yeah.
Yeah, try that first. Once the laws of health are established and they're followed and they're compliant that way, then we can add other things like Lāʻau. But otherwise, if an individual really isn't doing their part in getting proper sleep, proper eating, and proper exercise, then poho, right? Yeah, your medicine won't work unless they do their part. So that's kind of how it works. We also have Lomi Lomi practitioners there too. So instead of Lāʻau Lapaʻau, it might be Lomi Lomi integrating with the doctors.
And then how much are you the only Lāʻau Lapaʻau guy there?
Myself and Lena Alabright are the only Lāʻau Lapaʻau practitioners there.
Okay, so you guys are seeing like a lot of patients then.
We see our schedule is kind of booked out 2 months.
Oh dang.
So we're not, there's not enough hours in the day really, to see people.
Nuts. So what do you feel are some of the biggest misconceptions about Lāʻau Lapaʻau, and how would you debunk them?
Right. I think one of the misconceptions is that Lāʻau Lapaʻau knows everything. It can heal everything. Lāʻau Lapaʻau has its limitations, and one of those limitations is that we can't see through the body, right? We don't have x-ray vision, right? And so that's when Western medicine comes in and helps us to identify that. Our ancestors were able to kind of detect and see what the symptoms are that are maybe causing the symptoms, or whatever illness may be causing the symptoms, and so we're trying to follow the same pattern. But I mean, we rely on Western medicine to help us to see that part of the human body.
And that's another right there, compromise.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So that's one talent that Western medicine has that helps us as practitioners. So really, for us to be proficient and to understand comprehensively how Lāʻau Lapaʻau works, we also need to study the Western medicine, Western art just as much, but be grounded in Lāʻau Lapaʻau, be grounded in Pule, be grounded in the laws of Olekino, and that way you're not losing the practice of Lāʻau Lapaʻau, which is very spiritual.
Yeah, definitely spiritual. I remember you saying that, like, it's not Lāʻau Lapaʻau if there isn't Pule involved. And I feel like you having us Pule every morning before class really helped, like, everyone set their intentions for what they wanted for the day, or I like that kind of stuff. Could you go into how important Pule is, or what it is and why it's important?
Hi. Pule is a practice of calling upon your higher power. So in traditional times, it was the practitioner would call upon their gods, or would call upon their akua or their aumakua or even their kupuna to help them in their practice of healing. Today, because practitioners have many different religious backgrounds, Pule is Pule. You can pull it to God, you can pull it to Christ, or to Heavenly Father, or to Buddha, or Lord Krishna, or Allah, right? So the application of Pule is now dependent upon the individual to define that for themselves. So, but still, with recognizing that higher power and calling, and God being called by different names, you're still identifying that main source that heals. And this is why it's so imperative to make it a daily practice of Pule, so that when it comes time for you to go into the practice of healing, you're not calling upon only that moment your God or your higher power for help. Yeah. Daily practice of pule means that you have an existing relationship with somebody or with something that gives you support and gives you strength.
And it's not like you're only talking, or you're not only puling to ask for things either. You like also pule for thanks. Yep. Gratitude. That was one of my favorite parts of class, was doing pule every morning, or how you'd even just take suggestions and ask if we needed anybody to pule for. I thought that was very thoughtful and productive. Can you give your brief little summary about the mo'olelo of the first Lāʻau Lapaʻau practitioner?
Sure thing. Yep. So we are talking about Kamakanui Ha'ilono, or Lono Puha, who is Kamakanui Ha'ilono's student. So Kamakanui Ha'ilono was a visitor to the islands. He came from the islands of Kahiki, and he basically taught Lono Puha Lāʻau Lapaʻau. And it's kind of interesting that Lono Puha actually was opposed to being, I feel like being open to Kamakanui Ha'ilono visiting his village. So while Kamakanui Ha'ilono was busy working in the land, and while Kamakanui Ha'ilono was visiting Lono Puha's village, Lono Puha was working in the lo'i, and Kamakanui Ha'ilono is a high-ranking guest. And so I feel like, in my personal opinion, Lono just stayed in the lo'i, while Kamakanui Ha'ilono was attended to by lesser people, you know. But anyways, what happens is Kamakanui Ha'ilono gets up to leave, but he tells his Lono's people to watch out for their chief in the lo'i patch, okay, to watch for his health because he's a sick man. Kamakanui Ha'ilono leaves. Lono's people comes and tells him, hey, that guy over there that's leaving right now said you're sick. And Lono gets upset, hears that, and in the lo'i patch, he takes the o'o bar and he slams it to the ground in a fit of fury, saying, I'm not a sick man, right? But he, in thrusting the o'o stick down, he punctures his foot. And so, of course, he falls into the lo'i, blood splurting everywhere. And so they try to attend to him the best they can, but the people, his attendants, know that Kamakanui Ha'ilono, who just left, was a healer. So they run to go get him. Kamakanui Ha'ilono comes back and starts to apply medicine to him. Over some time, Lono heals, and you know, it takes time to heal. So Kamakanui Ha'ilono spent a lot of time with Lono saying, you know, you shouldn't have got so angry like that. And, you know, and so he imparted his teachings and his wisdom. After Kamakanui Ha'ilono sees that Lono is better, he goes ahead, he takes his leave, and Lono decides to follow him. He leaves his aina, he leaves all of his lo'i and his aina to his cousins, and he follows Kamakanui Ha'ilono. And in a ceremony, Lono's name changes from Lono to Lono Puha. And so his name wasn't always Lono Puha, it was Lono. So from Lono to Lono Puha, after that ceremony is done, he becomes the haumana of Kamakanui Ha'ilono. And from that point on, Lono Puha learns everything that Kamakanui Ha'ilono has to know, has to teach him. But he also excels in healing other people, in identifying symptoms and diagnosing. And he ends up becoming the first aumakua, or the po'o kahuna, for his practice of Lāʻau Lapaʻau.
Yeah, I love hearing about old mo'olelos and stuff, because you see a lot of our modern character traits in them too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like even just slamming the o'o down on your own foot, like I can picture like me or one of my bonehead cousins doing that same exact thing in a fit of rage, you know, not thinking. But do you think that the sickness he was talking about was how he reacted to that comment?
Oh, so like he turns red because he's being called out that he's sick? Yeah, probably. Or maybe he had jaundice. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I love Mo'olelo. That was mahalo for sharing that story.
Aye.
So how do you approach teaching Lāʻau Lapaʻau, and what do you want students to take away from your class?
I approach teaching Lāʻau Lapaʻau as I imagine myself just being a vessel that has a vessel of water that has some water to share. And that's all I want to do, is just share it.
Filling other people's cups.
Filling other people's cup. Yeah. And I go about that by creating the space of healing, try to make it as similar to Levano highs as possible, because that's, for me, that memory of sitting in that healing space was very impressionable. So if I can duplicate that, then I'm going to be successful in being able to reach the hearts and the minds of the people that are learning.
Yeah, for sure. What would you say are some of the biggest challenges you faced while in your Lāʻau Lapaʻau journey?
I think the biggest challenges, resources. So having resources, an abundant supply of resources of plants. That's one of the biggest challenges. And so if you don't have la'au in your backyard, or like growing on your aina, then you got to run all over the creation.
Yeah.
You know, just to
forage.
Just to forage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the biggest challenge. I think another big challenge is helping the Hawaiian community to feel comfortable in practicing Lāʻau Lapaʻau in their own homes. Much like Olelo Hawaii was kind of looked down upon within the families. Traditional practices of healing were kind of looked at as voodoo.
Yeah.
Something that you don't.
Dippy.
Yeah. And so that was pushed away by a lot of our traditional families. But now that Lāʻau Lapaʻau exists inside of a clinical setting, there's a sense of validity to this practice. And so we're making a big influence in the Waimanalo community. But what about the other communities? You know? So.
Well, I feel like if there was any community you guys should have started in, it is Waimanalo, because there is like the load of Hawaiians there, and I feel like what is it, like Hawaiians are like the most unhealthiest people in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And it's like that's nuts, because if you think about it, our kupuna were eating like all organic, everything, and they were healthy.
Yeah.
And it's like we get introduced to all this processed stuff, canned goods. Like, it's crazy because my home cook, like growing up, a comfort meal for mine is just like hot dogs and pork and beans. That cannot be healthy. Yeah. That's like process on process on process. Yeah. The rice is the healthiest part of that meal. Yeah. But yeah, I didn't realize how I don't want to say malnourished, but like, yeah, our food is not healthy.
Yeah.
In America, or yeah. But that's for a different topic.
Okay.
So can you go over the importance of ethical harvesting in Lāʻau Lapaʻau, or I guess like that sustainability kind of mana'o?
Aye. There's a phrase that I like to teach people, and that is iola ya'oe, iola ya'u. Life to you, life to me. In that phrase alone is my agreement to the plants that I am going to only take enough for my life without compromising yours. Yeah. And so with that mindset, I would like to spread that information to other people. Iola ya'oe, iola ya'u. I will only participate in this relationship just enough that gives life to you and me, and will not take more than what is necessary. I think a part of the ethics of harvesting too is like we deem people's lives more important to heal them, so we take the only and last surviving plant in a place in space just to try to heal somebody. Yeah, and that's something that we can't do, because these plants need to be around for another day. They need to be around for our next generation. So I think part of ethical harvesting is understanding the sustainability behind of practicing particular types of ethics, in your harvesting practices. So.
Do you know of any specific la'au that we don't have anymore because of unethical harvesting practices? I know there's a lot of birds and stuff.
It's hard to tell whether it was caused by over-harvesting or if it was just caused by invasive
like
species.
Displacement, kind of.
Yeah.
Dang. It's kind of crazy realizing how much of Hawaii we're losing, in a sense. Like, from plants to animals to freaking people is moving away.
Yeah.
It's kind of, like, what is Hawaii going to be if it loses everything Hawaiian,
Yeah, Hawaii's not Hawaii if there's no Hawaiians here. So you need the Kalaka Maoli.
They're going to rename it if we all move.
Yeah.
And then probably it's going to be some, like, they're just going to put new and then a already existed city.
Yeah.
Guarantee. So lazy English names, I swear. Like Sandy's Beach, what is that? Of course get sand at the beach. Wavamalu is way better.
Yeah.
So what role do community and ohana play in Lāʻau Lapaʻau?
What role do community and ohana play in Lāʻau Lapaʻau? The community is made up of ohana. Ohana is made up of individuals. Individuals are the key to both ohana and community work in Lāʻau Lapaʻau. So person by person is kind of our approach, just teaching people individually so that they can go back and be the healers in their homes, teaching Lāʻau Lapaʻau that way. So with you being inside the Lāʻau Lapaʻau class, now you have a greater awareness of health and wellness. And now whether or not you choose to practice that's up to you, right? But you're still aware, and you spread that awareness to your family. And that's the role that ohana and community play in the spread of Lāʻau Lapaʻau, and even in the practice of it.
Solid answer. So what were some of the, I guess, most common sicknesses back in the day that Hawaiians would have to deal with?
Cuts, abrasions, rashes, staph infection. Those were very common.
Because it wasn't until like Howleys came that we got all the other stuff, huh?
Yeah, there's these other. Well, no. Haole can also be defined as other Polynesian cousins coming up and bringing things. So like when Kamakanoi Ha'ilono came to Hawaii, his crew of people actually brought an illness that was pandemic.
Oh.
And so as people were getting sick, Kamakanui Ha'ilono was following them and healing them.
Oh, because he knew like what it was. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so we often think that it was a post-cook type of spread of illness and disease, but we forget that our Polynesian cousins from elsewhere in the world brought illnesses here to Hawaii too.
Well, at least they healed us.
Yeah.
They brought the sickness, but they brought the cure too. Side eye cook.
Yeah.
So what is one remedy that you've learned in your time practicing Lāʻau Lapaʻau, and why is it significant to you?
I think one of the most significant remedies that I've learned and that I'm very grateful for and I use very often is using kiha pai. as kihapai and kaunaoa. Kihapai is, its common name is Madagascar periwinkle, and it's used for cancer. That's something that we have our cancer patients using daily. And the reason why I think that cancer, that kihapai and the kaunaoa is significant is because the prevalence of cancer in our modern time.
Yeah.
So
especially like amongst Hawaiians.
Yeah, the modern Hawaiian has to be ready makaukau for cancer. Yeah.
So how do you use the kihapai? Is it like do you brew it or you make them ingest it? Or?
Yeah, kihapai is you take the leaves, you blend it with about a handful of leaves to a cup of water. You blend it and you strain it, and then you drink that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
and then same thing with the kaunaoa.
With the kaunaoa.
Oh, man.
So the kihapai communicates to the cancer cells to commit apoptosis, which is cell death.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the kaunaoa changes the environment within the human body so that it makes it difficult for the tumors to grow.
Oh, okay.
So what you'll find is like the tumor will start to shrink.
Yeah, yeah.
So you, on one hand, you have one warrior plant, kaunaoa, shrinking the tumor, and then you have kihapai actually attacking it.
Yeah, like telling it kill itself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so hoi.
Yeah.
Do you know if like, yeah, obviously fruits are healthy, but are there like any fruits that have like besides noni that have really good healing properties that we should try to include in our everyday diets?
Right. So any of your like Hawaiian fruits?
Yeah. Anything. Like.
Yeah. So I think mikana, papaya is important for the digestive tract to make sure that your things are flowing. So just like your awai and your awai over here in your streams where things have to flow within the human body. So mikana, papaya is important. Any of your citrus is important for a number of functions in the human body, especially if you got the flu, got sick, or you got COVID. You know, vitamin C, vitamin D. You know.
Yeah.
So, kalo is very important on many levels, you know.
Speaking of vitamin C, would ancient like seafaring Polynesians get scurvy?
You know what?
Or would they just take vitamin C?
Their vitamin C came from noni.
Okay.
So you know, we didn't have like the citrus.
Yeah. Well, I wonder how they if they were just mopping noni then the whole voyage.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I think about that time in like the world. Like, imagine, like, we celebrate all the voyagers that made it, but what about all the brothers that never? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, dang. I don't know if I could cross the ocean in a canoe. I've been on Hokulea, like, I know it's possible, but that is not for me. I would have been one of the brothers that just stay back on the island, like, hey, let me know how it is when you get back. So how do you see Lāʻau Lapaʻau evolving, and what are your hopes for its future?
I see Lāʻau Lapaʻau evolving to the point where it's going to be recognized by insurance companies.
Oh.
And if a person wants to get a
like a plant covered.
Yeah, if they want a particular treatment of Lāʻau Lapaʻau covered, then the insurance companies are going to say yes, go ahead.
Oh.
And they're going to reimburse the health center for that.
That's super cool.
That's my vision for that, and we're working toward that at Waimanalo Health Center.
You guys are like already talking to the insurance company. Oh, that's so cool. Like, what would be the reason they don't? Because that seems like it's medicine, right? Like,
yeah, there are many different reasons. Just like earlier we talked about, it's just like a miscommunication about the efficacy or how well plant medicine actually helps. the current healthcare system helped shape the current health insurance system.
Yeah.
Right. So they've grown up together. So they didn't grow up with Lāʻau Lapaʻau, which is coming along from blindsiding them, you know. So
hey, but Lāʻau Lapaʻau was there first.
Yep.
Nah.
Yeah.
So funny.
That's what I envision Lāʻau Lapaʻau doing and being in the future. So, which means like if the health insurance companies are approving Lāʻau Lapaʻau, then that means we need more Lāʻau Lapaʻau practitioners.
Yeah, and like more what do they call those? Where they grow like plants for medicine?
Yeah.
Like, no, nurseries.
Mahi Lāʻau Lapaʻau.
Yeah.
We need Mahi Lāʻau Lapaʻau.
So what kind of plants do you guys grow at the Waimanalo Health Center?
We are growing ava, kalo, ipu, puakala, kihapai, mai'a, uala, ape, and mamaki. We have some sources of that. Ili'e, olomea, and I'm missing a few, but yeah, but those are generally the main plants. So that's all that we have. If that's all that we have, we can only treat people with those plants.
Yeah.
So it comes back to, what does the practitioner do? Practitioner needs more land. It needs a Mahi Lāʻau Lapaʻau, a Lāʻau Lapaʻau farmer, so they can grow all the things that we need.
And like an off-site nursery to like keep the stock always like, you're not gonna run out.
Yep.
So is that like something you guys are trying to do too? Like,
we're looking, we're hoping for it. We're saying pule, and if Akua leads us that way, that's what's gonna happen.
Mean.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, we're just waiting.
So could you talk about the role of spirituality in Lāʻau Lapaʻau?
Yeah, sure.
Because it's definitely not just a thing you do, you know, like there's a lot more to it than just
spirituality, Levano High taught us pule is the first and last medicine that you'll ever give an individual. It's not la'au, it's not plants, it's pule.
mean.
And because we believe that pule and the spiritual realm have an effect on the living, we invest a lot of time and energy and mana'o into the spiritual realm, you know, to help us with our limitations physically, to be able to detect, see the problems, but we also rely on the spiritual realm to guide us in making the right choices in the selection of different plants, in its preparation, on how it's administered, and how we follow up.
So as when you were a kid, did you ever picture like this was where you were gonna
No, like I shared with you, I had no clue.
So like, would you say your interest in plants started like later in life?
No, I was always interested in plants.
Okay.
Always. But I think that decision of wanting to be a healer, you know, came later on in life. But I was taught a lot of these principles in my family growing up. So when I met Ohai, it was like no problem. I'm like, oh yeah, I know how to do that already, right? So spirituality was a strong aspect of my upbringing, and it was easy to transition into being Levano High's apprentice and growing from there.
So you said you joined the military partly because you wanted to go see the world.
Yeah.
What was the biggest culture shock you had as soon as you left Hawaii?
My biggest cultural shock was how different of a culture being in the military is. Military is like a subculture of American culture.
Yeah, my friend said it's like jail.
literally. Yeah, and so that was the biggest transition for me.
Was it? Yeah. What about like
if somebody comes up behind me that was in the military before and then shouts an order or something, I probably stand up and just like, yes sir, no sir, or whatever. That's because they indoctrinate it in you and they embed that almost like programming in you to respond that way.
That's what it is, basically.
Yeah, so
was it kind of hard for you to transition back to civilian life?
Still is. Yeah, it still is. And that has to do with events that happen during war.
Yeah.
So it's hard to transition. It's more things that I'm coping with now, you know. So if that defines transition. So like PTSD, post-traumatic stress from being overseas in war.
Yeah. Stuff humans shouldn't even be doing to each other or seeing.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
So this is why Lāʻau Lapaʻau is such a draw for me. It's healing.
Yeah.
So as I heal other people or help heal other people, then I heal myself.
Are there any damaging aspects of Lāʻau Lapaʻau?
The intention that a person has can make it damaging. So just by having the wrong intention and using the plants a certain way, you can hurt people.
Dang.
So, but you'd have to have two things. One, knowledge of how to do that, and two, knowledge of how to use your intention. So this is how the practice of ana comes into play, where it's just a flip of a switch, and you're switching your intention from good to ino.
Yeah, that's some heavy stuff, man.
Yeah.
So what other things would you say besides Lāʻau Lapaʻau have been helping you through your, I guess, like detransition from the military?
What other things?
Yeah, like do you like going out to the beach or like hiking?
Yeah, absolutely. Things that I recommend to people to do daily are things that I recommend to do myself.
Yeah.
You know? So going to the beach is definitely one way of meditating, and it's a beautiful place to ponder about your existence, about life, about things that are important.
And just kilo.
Yeah, just a kilo. Yeah. So I go hiking, I go diving, you know, do all the things I did growing up. Love farming, you know. I have my own farm, small little farm, not as big as this place, but I have two horses, a donkey, 2 goats, and lāʻau growing.
Do you ride horses?
Yeah.
Paniolo. No.
I don't paniolo, but I ride.
I'm too scared to ride. You don't realize how tall a horse is.
Yeah.
Like if you fall off a horse, like you can die.
That's possible. I've fallen off many times.
Yeah. That's crazy. So what would you say has been some of your most, I guess, favorite memories as a kumu and like getting to share Lāʻau Lapaʻau with your students?
I think some of my favorite memories are the hands-on part, which include when we do the lepo palolo face mask. Everybody we make this lepo palolo clay, and everybody puts it on, but we make the clay with not just water or apple cider vinegar. We actually make medicinal teas that are useful and good for the skin. And so we take those teas and we combine it with the lepo palolo, so you're benefiting from the tea itself and the clay. So that's fun because everybody is lots of smiles, and people are trying not to smile because it starts to crack their face. You know?
Your face feels all stiff.
Yeah. So that's fun one. And the other memory is drinking mimi, because in this class In Lāʻau Lapaʻau, we teach people that the mimi or the urine is medicinal.
Yeah, I had to do it. It was nuts. I did it in Emma's class at Windward though.
Yeah.
I got an A.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. I feel like one of my favorite memories from this semester was when he taught us Lomi. Because I left that class feeling so insanely relaxed and loose, and yeah, I just felt like all kind of stress was released that I never even knew was there, you know?
Yeah.
I don't ever get massages too because I'm too ticklish, but
yeah,
since it was kainoa, it wasn't ticklish at all.
Yeah. Lomi is one of those things too, which comes back to that question, you know, what kind of misconceptions are there about Lāʻau Lapaʻau? That Lomi was separate from Lāʻau Lapaʻau.
Yeah.
They were actually all together. Yeah, so the traditional healer. Yeah.
Well, we was talking about how Lomi goes hand in hand with Lāʻau instead of it being its own. So like, does that mean Lāʻau Lapaʻau practitioners would, like, they all know Lomi too then?
They should know.
Yeah. Okay.
Lomi.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't all know.
Yeah. And Lomi practitioners should know some Lāʻau, yeah?
That's right.
Yeah. I could see how that, yeah. I heard a mo'olelo too about how this person knew he was gonna practically die because he like was loaming his stomach and felt something, and he was just like, oh yeah, my time is near, guys.
Yeah.
And I feel like they were so good at like just being able to identify things with touch because they didn't have like x-rays and stuff, you know. So yeah, definitely a very powerful tool.
Yeah.
So if you could live in any era of Hawaiian like time, when would it be and why?
I would want to live in the 1820s, 1830s.
Oh, like the heyday of the kingdom.
Yep. So that one, I could make a difference in the future.
With like everything you know now, yeah?
Yeah.
I'll just go back and be like, kid, don't trust this guy. Watch out for that kid. He's a kid now, but yeah, even though he was born here.
Yeah. I would want to go back to around 1820s, 1830s. So this is the time where there was, in Hawaiian history, where you started to have more of the missionary religious influence.
Yeah.
But to really visit key Ohana people, key Hawaiians, you know, during that time, and reassure them of being Kanaka Maoli, you know, and about their choices and their decisions, you know.
I feel like it's often overlooked, but since Hawaiians didn't have like written oral history or written history, like when the population dwindled to about like however 1,000 left Hawaiians, like imagine how much Ike was lost too, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's what trips me out.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, and we're probably never gonna relearn it either.
Yeah.
Sad.
Right. So us as Hawaiians now, we gotta keep what we have, keep it alive, perpetuate it, which includes Lāʻau Lapaʻau. Yeah.
That's actually literally what kind of influenced me to go into like Hawaiian study / conservation. I'm gonna wait for this jet. It's nuts how the sound is behind it. Like, the jet is like over there. Holy shit, that thing is loud. I totally brain farted of what I was talking about. Damn it, what did I say? Frick. That noise is just too nuts for me.
It's okay.
Okay. So, frick, what was I talking about? Damn it. You don't remember?
No.
Okay, let me think real quick. What was I thinking right before the noise? I know I was talking about how like we lost all of that Ike.
Yeah.
I asked you what era. Yeah, you talked about Kumu Ohai. Would you say that's probably your biggest mentor you've had?
Yeah, Levano is my biggest mentor. So there's two people I want to recognize though as my mentors. One is Levano High. So from 2006 moving forward, right? Before Uncle Sonny, Levano High, it was my grandmother.
Okay.
Emily Kikaha Kualu. And so she was a mana leo that imparted a lot of ike, before she passed. And so strong mentor and guide in my life. So whenever I ask for kokua or ask help from my kupuna, she's the person that I call out to.
Wait, you get scoldings in Olelo?
Yes, I get scoldings or I get the look or, whichever.
Yeah, I'm glad I was raised by my grandparents because, like, I have the values from that era.
Yeah.
And, yeah. I look at how, like, my nieces and nephews, not that they're good kids and everything, but it's just times is different.
Yeah.
Like, I could never get away with talking to, like, authority figures like how they do or just, it's nuts. When I was a kid, I used to get chili pepper in the mouth when I'd talk back or freaking swear. That sucked. Niue is definitely, how do you think it ranks in like the spiciness? Like, do you think it's on the hotter side of peppers or?
It's like in the mid-level.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, chili pepper.
Whew.
Yeah, there's hotter than that.
I'm good.
African ghost pepper.
Oh, bruh.
Yeah.
That's the kind you're hating yourself the next day.
Yeah.
And you got a kilo. So one of the last questions I like to ask everybody is, what does aloha mean to you? Because everybody has their own definition.
Right. That's good. The precursor to my answer is like this, is what I learned from my tutu Emily, and it was aloha kikahi ikikahi, love one another.
Yeah.
That's the context by which I learned aloha. It's giving to others. It's taking care of yourself so that you can take care of others. Yeah. It's forgiving when forgiveness is needed. It's not holding a grudge. It's letting things that are negative go. And aloha brings peace. So aloha yourself, aloha other people. I have no fancy way of describing it other than it's love. Yeah.
That's pretty much my definition too.
Yeah.
So like, if people were interested in getting their feet wet in Lāʻau Lapaʻau, what would be some good resources that they could check out?
Hi, good question. So currently, my answer is they should go and check out the Lāʻau Lapaʻau classes. Right now we have Kumu Noi Puauli at Windward Community College.
Shouts out, Auntie Chaya.
Yeah. And then we have Pua Pinto at Leeward Community College. And then Konane Bramblai at Oahu, UH West Oahu.
Me?
Yeah, teaching. And then I'm at UH Manoa. So go to any of those Lāʻau classes and and then learn Lāʻau, learn with us.
Did you guys all learn from Kumu Ohai?
They, Kumu Noi, learn from Kumu Ohai, and then Konane and Pinto learned from me.
Oh, mean.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Like when your Hawana actually fill the shoes.
Yeah.
Oh, that must be super like gratifying to see, bro.
Yeah. So I'm happy.
Well, it looks like the weather is switching fast on us, Kumu. I really appreciate your time in Mana'o. And yeah, mahalo for everything. I look forward to our continued little Kilina
Ay, may kai.
keyword, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for our remedy video. We're gonna cook up.
Mahalo.
Well, yes, sir.
Okay, we're gonna be doing a remedy for the eyes. We are using the naupaka berry. So there are many berries on here. The berries are white. We're going to take the berries and squeeze them inside of the eyes. They are used for irritated eyes, for dryness, to restore the pH level in the eyes, to rinse them out, and heal. Okay.
Okay. So just tilt my head back?
Yeah. So we're taking the berry. Let's squeeze out the juice. Alright, go ahead and pull the eye down. Alright, let's put it in the other one.
Whoa. Definitely not as bad as meat oil.
How does it feel?
It feels good. It feels like minty almost. Like it made my eyes feel wet and cool. And then now it's like not stinging, but definitely feeling it. Well, yeah, that feels cool.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, super cool. Mahalo, Kumu.
Yeah, mahalo.
Look, actual naupaka berry juice.